Welcome to the Education Exchange. I'm your host, Superintendent Jeremy Calles, here at Tolleson Union High School District. And today we're here to talk about a couple of unique opportunities here at Copper Canyon. I have my guests with me. We're actually going to start off with Samantha. You go ahead and go first and introduce yourself, and then Adan.
Hi, I'm Samantha Ness. I am a history teacher here at Copper Canyon with 11th and 10th graders. I'm also the civics coordinator here.
Hi guys, my name is Adan Torres. I am the student body vice president and the Canyon Corner president at Copper Canyon High School.
All right, so let's start first with the Albert H. Small Normandy Institute. Can you tell our listeners exactly what that is and why that's such a unique blessing here to have over at Copper Canyon?
So I actually had no idea what it was. I saw a thing in a Facebook group I'm part of that a bunch of other teachers are in, and they said it's a chance to go to Europe and travel to France with this organization, and it's completely paid for. So naturally, I was like, absolutely, we're jumping in on this. There's no question. And then the more research I'm doing, I find out it's a student teacher team. So I get to pick the student that I would be participating with. And so I chose Adan. I had a few students write essays, and his was the one that was most passionate. And so, as part of the program, you are a GW student for 6 months. We do GW classwork. We're doing online cohorts for about 2 weeks at a time, just learning about World War II, Normandy invasion. Then we get to go to Washington, D.C. for 4 days, spend time on the GW campus, tour the Holocaust Museum, all the big monuments. And then from Washington, D.C., we travel with the program to France for 6 days, get to see everything imaginable for World War II. And then we come back, and that's the whole journey.
Nice. And Adon, what are you thinking about being selected and being a part of all of this?
So at first, initially, I was nervous because I thought it was a long shot, especially the writing part, because writing, I wouldn't say is my best subject, but I do know how to convey my emotions. So I put in like from recent like family history because in my family, like they mostly discard education. So I wanted to be like, I want to try something new. I want to provide us an opportunity, especially like for something like going to Europe for a fully expenses paid trip while learning about a history rich topic.
Nice. And so when does the trip take place?
So we applied in November, found out in December. We studied from January to May. We went to DC mid June. We're there. And then in July, came home from France and back to Phoenix. So it's about 17 days total of travel.
Wow, that's a nice long trip.
Yeah, we both got back and we're exhausted, but it was to be able to meet with foundational democratic leaders in DC, to be able to go in France and go into these churches where there's still bloodstains on the pews, to be able to walk the homes of people that were invaded by Nazi Germany. Those are things that you can't recreate in a classroom.
Absolutely. And Adon, what are some of your biggest takeaways?
Well, I learned that history is something which should be preserved because there's so much out there, but students don't have that opportunity to be hands on. And I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to go hands on, watch, and visit all the monuments where everything occurred. So, for example, I presented at Point de Hawk. So, I had to give an autobiography about the topic, like how everything went down. We saw the hills where Normandy soldiers would walk up and just how everything worked out.
Nice. If Samantha, was this your first time doing this trip with the Normandy Institute or
It was. I've never even heard of the organization. I've done trips with students to Hawaii. I've done a few other trips, and this was the first time. And the teachers that are part of this program are top tier. The students that Adon was in the ranks of are phenomenal. And to be able to go and everybody's there with their heart focused on seeing the D-Day landings and
Mhm.
learning about everything World War II. But it's also about being able to connect and network. I mean, he threw 2 pool parties, one in DC, one in France. So, being able to it's also a program that you can do up to 3 times. And so they really pour into the decision process of we wanna make sure it's diversified, we wanna make sure that everybody has an equal opportunity for this. And their application process really looks at, does this mean something personally and professionally to you? And so for me, my grandmother's a Holocaust survivor. And so for me, that was a huge motivator of I have to go see these places.
So 3 times. So that means you're gonna get to go back 2 more times with 2 other students?
Yes, I tried to space out the applications so that way it's not year after year I'm applying, but as long as the student is a sophomore or junior, they're fair game to go.
And Adon, what would you have for students out there that are, possibly looking at pursuing this opportunity when it comes back up again?
I say go for it. A lot of things we might see them as out of reach, but if you don't provide yourself that opportunity or put yourself out there and put that effort in, you're not going to get anywhere. Nothing's going to come to you. Hard work pays off.
And Samantha, is there any other so now that you're back, is there anything else that they still provide? Are there additional education or supports they go along with that?
So, part of the process of being in the program was we got put into a WhatsApp group chat. So, all of the teachers are still communicating. The students have their own and they have their jokes. They want to do a meetup. And then we just got sent a photograph book from the family of Albert H. Smalls, who funds the entire program because it's privately funded. And so they tell us, hey, there's webinars, here's this resource. And then they also have an alumni program. So, as part of the program, he now has a free application fee to apply to GW. He gets promoted for scholarships and has access to the university that way.
Nice. And Adon, how well are you looking at leveraging those extra opportunities?
I want to try it since I do plan on going into a field. I want to say history based, but I want to learn more about the campus, how everything works, and especially Washington is a big area of politics and just like business overall. So I would love to learn more about in depth how everything functions.
Well, it's definitely a unique opportunity. So I'm imagining some unique experiences came out of that. Adon, have you been on a plane before?
So it was actually my first time being on a plane, and I was scared because I was like, I'm going outside of the country. This is gonna be a long flight. I don't know how my body's gonna react, especially with, like the pressure and everything. But luckily, I talked to one of the flight attendants because I was a little nervous, and she mentioned it. She kind of threw me under the bus. She's like, "It's his first time on a plane," and then the flight attendant, she's like, she told the pilots, and she's like, "It's his first time on a plane. Can he check it out?" And I got the opportunity to go inside the plane and see how everything's set up.
Oh, that sounds really neat. First time on a plane and you go all the way overseas. I mean, that's kind of daring right there in and of itself because you get somewhere up over New Mexico or Texas and realize you have motion sickness. I mean, that's going to be a long way to go before you can get back your feet back on the ground. So, yeah, most people would probably take their first flight to San Diego or something, but
And
going all the
his
way to
first
France,
flight was
that's
a red eye flight, too.
oh, and a red. Well, did you at least get to sleep most of the way then?
Kind of, kind
Yeah.
of, here and there, 10, 15-minute naps.
That was fun. I remember he asked me as we were packing, he's like, should I pack a parka? I'm like, we're going to France in the summer. We don't need that. Don't
Now,
worry about
when
that.
when you're packing, did you make sure that you left plenty of room? Because when you go, you actually end up going with less stuff than what you come back with. Because I'm hoping you guys got some good souvenirs, good memories out of it. So, what else did you fit into that suitcase on your way back?
I know he threw a blanket away at some point in the journey of getting to and from France. The blanket was there on the way to DC and it wasn't when we came home. And so I like telling him to pack. I was like, we don't need 5 pairs of shoes. We
Yeah.
need like 2 and they should be comfy. But you did get a lot of souvenirs. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
What are your favorite ones? What's the favorite takeaways?
So we actually went to one of the beaches in Normandy. It was the last day we were in France. No, sorry, that we were in Normandy, and it was a restaurant, and we were so close. We came back with sand from the beach where everything happened.
Oh, I hope that didn't put your suitcase over the weight limit. Get that much sand in there.
I think it was like Omaha Beach and they gave us bags and they're like, you can grab as much as you'd like. And so to be able to have sand from one of the most well known World War II beaches is amazing.
Oh yes, that's awesome. What else? Did you get some Eiffel Tower souvenirs or something? I mean, you're in
I
France.
did, and I was gonna wear the shirt today, the I Love Paris shirt. I was gonna wear it today, but I didn't. I got to interview a crab at Omaha Beach that same day.
You interviewed a
So
crab?
I
Yeah.
got a little mini microphone that we can plug into our phones and do like little videos. So that way I had a microphone. He took it and decided that he's going to create a whole podcast, get ready with me. and do the whole show. And so he's interviewing different participants. He had a crab that he was holding on to that he brought in as a bit. He made his own little TV show.
Well, now we're going to have to use this podcast to be a spinoff to your podcast, Adan. So do you want to pitch what your podcast is for those who want to see the interview with the crab?
So I'll probably send you guys a video, but it's just me holding a crab, and I was wearing like one of my favorite shirts, and I was just asking him what he liked about the beach, how his day was going, and if he had a lot of visitors.
Well, definitely sounds like a great trip with a lot of great memories and things to build on.
I will say one of my favorite memories is it's fun traveling as a teacher with a student who you know has never been overseas, been on a plane, because you get to see like that newness and just that joy. And so I remember going through security, like I have TSA pre-check. And he goes, "Well, do I get to do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're my minor." And he's like, "We're bougie." I'm like, "We're TSA pre-check." And so like we got to the Eiffel Tower and he's just staring at it, unable to like process what he's looking at. And he looks down and he's like, "We're actually here." I was like, "Yeah, we're actually here." Like we got to do the Capitol, Library of Congress. I have family in DC. And so they met up with us and took us over to the Maryland side. We got to go to the ocean and see the ports and everything. And so he did get a little bit more access than some of the other kids. We did have a shopping limit though. I was like, "Look, we have only so much we can do." But we did get to go to the Louis Vuitton store in Paris.
Oh, nice. Did you come back with anything?
Yeah, I got my brother his birthday gift.
Oh,
So we
and what
wanted
was it? Can we know what it was?
Yeah,
Was
yeah,
it
yeah.
some?
It was a belt because he had been wanting a belt, and I was like, you know what? I'm already here. I'm at the fashion district of the world right now, so I had to go for it.
And then he bought 2
Nice,
long chump bags in Bayou where we were staying at too. So I was like, "All right,
nice.
we're good on spending money, right?" Like
So
we
now I
have
know why you had to get rid of the blanket.
No,
Yes.
To
yeah,
make room for all of that.
Yeah.
blankets, shoes, some shirts.
He did get stuck with the middle seat on the way there and on the way back.
Oh.
And he asked me to trade him. And I was like, "That's one thing about flying you'll learn. You don't trade that.
It was okay
You're
though.
stuck with it."
There you go. Maybe next flight you'll have a window.
How did you plan your pool parties?
So I went full Stugo kid. I went full Stugo kid out. So I used Canvas
They were
or
all
Canva.
appropriate school parties,
Yeah, they
I
were
might
all
say.
like it was just friends. So I made a flyer and everything, and it was themed like a little party. And I was like, just bring snacks and a towel. We're gonna be there like from our appropriated time that we were allowed to be out, and it was just gonna be us, the kids who were in the program. We were just enjoying like each other, like we were having fun, communicating, and eating snacks.
And so he planned one in Washington, D.C. And the program director came up to me and they're like, "Did he actually create a flyer for a pool party?" And I was like, "They're in the hotel. That was your rule. And they're in by curfew. So unless you want me to shut it down," he's like, "I've just never had a kid create a pool party." And so, because when we were in DC, the rule was as long as you're on the George Washington campus, they could walk around without an adult. And then when we were in France, they had to have an adult, but it gave them that independence. So, as the adults were like, "Hey, give us your location, text us where you're going to be." And they went and got dinner and snacks and went down. And I think they kidnapped like a middle school kid into playing sharks and minnows. And then in Paris, he's like, "Can I do it again? As long as you follow the rules, I guess it's fine."
Well, there you go. What a journey to go from never being on a plane to becoming an international pool party planner. So definitely sounds like a great trip.
Yeah, it was a trip that you can't dream that. You can't plan that on your own and do that to the quality and extent that it was. Even as a teacher, my roommate was like, "I kind of want to get my soldier's signature tattooed." I'm like, "We're in France." And she's like, "I think I'm going to do it." And so I went with her. We ended up getting tattoos in France as part of the program. And they're like, "We love this." And so they're very create the bonds, experience what you're here to experience, get hands on as much as you possibly can.
Nice. Great experience. Hopefully, Adon, you didn't come back with any tattoos.
No, no, no. I
Okay, well,
came
that's
back
great. A great
bloated.
experience then.
I tried so many bakeries. I told her the day that we left, I was like, I'm gonna try pastries because me, I'm a big sweets person. So I was like, I'm gonna try everything I can. So first day in DC, I found a bakery by our hotel. Tart. Oh my goodness, I went back every day, 2, 3 times a day.
I'm pretty sure he saw the White House and then he found a bakery, and in
Nice.
that order. So
It was fun though. We saw the botanical garden. We just saw like so many things that you wouldn't get to experience without having opportunities like that. And what made it even crazier was the program actually provides you an allowance in DC.
Mhm.
So it's like a card and it gives you an allowance, and they're like, use it on whatever you want. It's primarily focused for food. So that's what kept paying for little my bakery addiction those past few days. And then there's like a farm, not a farm, like a farm shop, but like a little district by the campus where you can get all your food, and there's different type of restaurants. So we had like authentic, like New York style pizza. It was just so fun.
That was one of the cool things that we weren't expecting was when we got there, they're like, "Oh, for the 4 days, here's $150 to spend on food or whatever you might need." And then when we got to Europe, we're like, "Oh, we'll probably have to like expense our food, all that." And they're like, "We'll give you 50 € a day." And so that was really cool because I'm like, "Oh, if we don't use 50 €, like, do we give it back? Like, what?" And they're like, "Nope, it's your money to keep." And so the only expenses we really had to pay for were our flights to DC, which was even more amazing that Mr. Oxford here at Copper, we reached out to him and said, "Hey, flights for us are going to be about $1,400 because we're coming clear across the country." And he was like, "You know what? You're not going just to go and have a great time. You're going on a school trip." And so he actually even paid for those flights for us. And then they paid for all the flights to France and everything else.
Well, it definitely sounds like a great
Yeah.
opportunity, and appreciate you guys paving the way on that one.
I would love to see this program expand and grow, especially knowing that we work with the Cardinals every summer in DC. And it really gives, he was like, "Can I go to DC with the Cardinals?" I'm like, "You just had an even bigger tour." So it's, if more kids had opportunities like this, I think more doors would be open in their minds of what is actually possible for them to do.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Now, you two have connected on some other unique opportunities. You put together the Canyon Corner. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about Canyon Corner?
Do you want to take that one or want me to?
So Canyon Corner, we wanted to create a safe haven for people. Since we know it's scary to ask for help, we wanted to provide the opportunity to reach out without being judged. Because judgment is a lot of things. It has grown over the years and has been normalized, which is something that's really not okay. So we wanted to provide the opportunity where you can reach out for help without feeling judged or like we're gonna talk about you. No, we want to reach out with you. We want to work with you and provide you those resources.
And by resources, the Canyon Corner is a food pantry that anyone at Copper Canyon can access. For years, we've done an NHS food drive. And so having the need for the resources, and then with the current administration's government shutdown, the SNAP benefits being cut, we realized that's a huge resource and need for our population. And students were kind of speaking up to friends and realizing we have a food drive. Why not just continue it after the holidays? And so we put together canyon boxes that have all various types of food, and they can literally just go to the front office, anyone from Copper, anyone from the community, and say, "Can I get a canyon box?" And they will be given a box that is probably close to 25 pounds of food, no questions asked. Here you go. We're glad we can help.
And how are you managing to keep that stock replenished? Like, what other nonprofits and other agencies are you working with to try to keep that stock replenished so you have those resources to be able to make available?
So we started this end of November, and then Christmas came around. So literally in the heart of the SNAP benefits being cut. So we had a lot of help from our NHS. And then what we did was we formed a club on campus that has about 32 students in it, to where we can do fundraisers. We can reach out to different organizations. We've had some scholarship funds reach out and say, "How can we help? What do you guys need?" And so it's really going to come down to, we don't want the kids having to fill the pantry because the pantry's for them. We want the community to really step in.
Absolutely. I think you got to make some of those business connections and get some of those
Yes.
businesses that you can count on to help keep it stocked, keep it going. But it's definitely a great initiative.
Yes.
So, anything else that the two of you would like to share about either opportunity that now exists here at Copper Canyon? Uh, you know, you're all about seizing that opportunity. So now some new opportunities here. What else would you like to throw out there and let the listeners know about either the Normandy Institute or the availability of the Canyon Corner?
I think knowing about the opportunities that exist, especially over summer, for teachers and students to partner up and do research is really, it's a very small niche that not many teachers or students know about. And so when we got back, he's like, "What's our next one?" Where are we going next? And then other students are, hey, I hear you do these summer trips. And so if you're a student that wants to get involved with something like that, do a Google search and take it to a teacher that you think would work really well with it. I think that there's a lot of organizations that want to help. And being in Arizona, we do have the geographical greatness that not many people from Arizona apply to these programs. And so they want to get us in, they want to get us on their maps and as part of their alumni programs. And yes, there's coursework. Yes, there's essays. We got to research a soldier from World War II and get to know his entire biography. But you also get those connections where even my program roommate is in New Hampshire and we text weekly. And so you get to build those student connections, you get to build those professional connections, but also you just get to travel and see. People want to pay students to travel. And I feel like that's not known enough.
And Adan, how you feeling after everything? You're ready to, become a lifelong traveler, visit more countries, learn more about world history?
For sure. Traveling has always been something that I enjoy, especially being from Mexico. I love going to Mexico because in Mexico, we live in a rancho. And I just love the outdoors. I love connecting with my family members, the livestock. Just having the opportunity to travel is so big. Students are provided so many opportunities, so many doors are open essentially, but we close them on ourselves, not knowing what's out there and what's available.
Well, I appreciate you sharing with all of our students how they really just need to put themselves out there, go after all these opportunities, and especially nowadays with the internet and everything else, like you could search out these different opportunities. So appreciate you both sharing all of that with our listeners, and we appreciate our listeners for tuning in once again to the Education Exchange, where we aim to enlighten our parents and empower our students. We look forward to seeing you again next time.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of the Education Exchange. Have a question or want to be a guest on our podcast? Email podcast@tuhsd.org for more information. Missed an episode? Catch all seasons of the Education Exchange on your favorite streaming platforms or at www.tuhsd.org/podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for another episode of the Education Exchange.